She called the dean on me. She filed a complaint with the dean because I went to the bathroom. Actually, no, the complaint wasn't that why I went to the bathroom. When I was in college, I got into a fight with one of my professors, and then I was sent to the dean's office, which is essentially like getting sent to the principal's office as a grown adult. Allow me to tell you that tale. Disclaimer, I am not completely blameless in this situation, and I'll tell you exactly what I did wrong when we get there, but I think that I was justified still. I guess you can tell me if you think it was justified or not. Another thing you gotta know, just in the name of full transparency, is that I've always had an issue with authority, especially when I was in high school. Although even now, when I look back at all of those verbal altercations that I got into with administration in my high school, 70% of them I feel made sense to be really upset about, and it's not my fault. They didn't want to hear it. The reason I'm mentioning this is because if you knew me in high school, this comes as no surprise to you, what I'm about to say, but what I need you to know is that by this time in my life, I was 23 when this incident occurred. I had given that up, okay? I was going into class quiet. I did not speak. I'm a yapper, okay? I was not speaking in class. I just wanted to come in, do my work, and go home. I didn't want to make friends. I didn't even want to talk to the professors if I didn't have to. But that girl with that very strong sense of justice still lives deep inside me, okay? And sometimes she comes out, and who am I to tell her no? This was a statistics class. Now, I'm bad at math. I've talked about that numerous times here. I was already stressed out because I was afraid that I was going to fail. So I'm locked in, ready to go. I show up 10 minutes before class is supposed to start. When I get there, the room is filled with people, probably 30, 35 people. Every single desk is filled. Silent, no one's speaking. We're all waiting for the professor to come in. She comes in, she gets to the front of the room. She starts introducing herself. She has a French accent. The only reason why I'm mentioning the French accent is because it is super important to the very end of the story, but it has zero to do with why I didn't like her. She introduces herself. We're gonna call her, for the sake of the story, Sarah Smith, because that's the most generic name I can think of. It is incredibly evident by the first few sentences that are coming out of Sarah Smith's mouth that she's about to run this statistics class like the Marines. There will be no fucking around. You know what I mean? She starts talking. She's like, you will not miss any days of class. If you miss a test, it will be a 0. You will not get up to leave this classroom for any reason. If you do not learn, that is your problem. Do not ever ask me to explain something again because I will not do it. I'm thinking two things in this moment. The first one is I kind of respect it, honestly. Like, if you're not going to be in the class to learn, like, then you're not going to learn. Like, she's not going to go out of her way to re-explain things to you because you chose not to be there or you weren't paying attention. That makes sense to me, but also I'm a little afraid because she's very scary. Also, this was community college, so that feels really necessary to include. Normally in community college, the first day of class is syllabus day. Like, you get a feel for the class, like maybe do some icebreakers, whatever. You definitely most of the time are getting let out early. Not for Sarah Smith's class. No, we jump into lesson 1 like right off the bat. She starts writing on the board.
I've been to community college and I can vouch. It's super laid back, chill, none of this that she's talking about. So it was a breeze for me.
Community college must be like repeating high school again.
Basically, in a sense.
Oh no, man. You be seeing all age groups in college, but some community colleges, it just don't even make sense to even be a school to me. But hey, what do y'all think about that? What are y'all thoughts when it comes to like community colleges? I feel like school is a scam in general, and I feel like community college is the biggest scam ever. Especially today. Maybe you could have got a degree back in the day that would have helped, but it's like, what can a 2-year? Because isn't it like a community, like
Yeah,
2
2
years?
years. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like what can you do with a 2-year degree today? Like for
There's
real.
a lot of things, nurse assistants and
Okay, well, I don't know.
welding.
I
guess.
Really? Oh no.
Or not something, architect.
Trying to teach us math, and everyone's like, oh my god, okay, like, lock in. The noise of everyone pulling out their notebooks and like getting to a page to write on is like loud in the classroom, and so it overpowers her talking for a couple of seconds. Someone on the other end of the classroom goes, could you repeat that really quick, like to Sarah Smith? She turns around, glares at them, and says, no, and don't speak out of turn again. So someone else raises their hand and says, can you repeat that, please? And she just went, no, and then turned around and started writing on the board again. That same person goes, no, I'm pretty sure that we all missed it because it was just like really loud for a second. She turns around, she's like, no, what did I just tell you? We are not doing this all semester. Is this how it's gonna go this entire semester? Are we gonna do this every day? The person who had their hand raised shuts up, looks like they're about to cry. She goes back to writing on the board. It is now silent in the room. It is eerie. I look at the clock. It's been 6 minutes. And I'm thinking to myself, this is going to be the most miserable math class of my life. And that is truly saying something. The rest of the class went pretty normal, if you consider normal to be us being so afraid to even breathe loudly and her talking to a bunch of statue people, until Approximately 2 minutes before we're supposed to leave the class, someone on the other end of the room starts packing up their stuff quietly so that they can be ready to go exactly at that time. Sarah Smith did not like that, dude. She turns around, she starts yelling at them. How dare you put your stuff away while I am still lecturing? We still have a minute and a half. You are disrespectful. Are you even going to take any of this seriously?
You know, I don't feel bad because these are adults. I mean, this probably the best reality check they gonna get, honestly. If you think about it, like you're not talking to kids no more. Like sit your ass down. I feel it. Like what are you doing, grown ass person? Yeah, I want to be grown, but now all right, let's just talk grown then. Let's go to school and act like adults. What y'all thought the teacher was gonna be all nice? College is different, man. They don't care more than you. You you paying to go there. You think we care? You think a teacher care more than your ass in college?
She's extremely way too
She pretty
strict.
nice. She pretty nice.
This is when somebody gets to power tripping.
Man,
Like, you can't leave. Like, what if you had an emergency? Like, what if, like, the
You could tell
craziest
people-
scenario, and then she's just like, how dare you? Like, bye. I'm literally transferring. I'll take this class next semester with someone else. I'm
It
outta
is not
here.
that serious. But what if she was a good teacher though? Whole time good teacher. She just a teacher. Like she just like,
She's
hey,
extreme.
she's teaching them life lessons. Like, hey, do as you told. That's what you go to school to learn, right? Do as you told. So she just doing her job. When you get out in the real world and you work a job, you're gonna do what you were told. No matter how nice your boss is, you're gonna still do it. You know why? Because you need that check and you need this education. So sit your ass down. That's how my school would be. Yeah, you talking about college? Let's get it.
I'm gagged, for real. I'm scared and gagged over in the other side of the classroom. She yells at them for the rest of the minutes until class ends and then says, now you may all pack up and leave. So we do, in complete silence. No one is saying a word. As we're all leaving, I'm kind of close to the door, so I'm one of the first people out there. Dude, I'm not even putting things in my backpack. It's wide open on my back. I'm booking it out of there. I don't want to be here anymore. I don't even want to risk the zipper making too much noise. I don't want her attention on me whatsoever. As we're all leaving, she points at the person that was like putting their stuff away like early and says, you stay, and makes them stay. And oh my God, talking to her alone, that's so scary. That was day one of this woman's class, but that was far from being the last time that she would get mad at us, although it was a while until she finally got mad at me. A few weeks into class, the girl who usually sits to my left is not there. Sarah Smith, this is the first time she ever spoke directly to me, and I was like, she looks at me and goes, why isn't she here? And I was like, her? And she's like, yeah. And I was like, I don't know. She's like, you don't know? And I was like, I don't know her. I don't know any of these people. She looks at me like, like she doesn't believe me. I've never spoken to this girl, especially not in this class. Okay, I'm not talking. She goes, and then starts class. By the way, she now has a projector and she's facing us the entire time. She's not using the whiteboard and turning her back to us. The entire time she's looking at us. A couple weeks goes by. This kid in the middle front made a real big mistake. He unzipped his hoodie and took it off and put it on his chair. You would have thought he had a weapon, the way that she responded to that. She yells and yells at him and then ends it with, stay after class. He stays after class and he's mad as about it. And I know this because the next time we had class, for the first time basically ever, all of us in the classroom start speaking to each other in that time between everyone arriving at the classroom and then the professor arriving at the classroom. We are now kind of talking and sharing stories. The guy that got held after class for like unzipping his sweatshirt, he was like, she just yelled at me after class. And I was like, I don't know what to tell you. I was hot. I was taking it off because I was hot. And she was calling me a distraction, telling me that I should have thought about that before I come to class so that I don't have to be distracting everybody by taking off my sweatshirt. The girl next to me that was absent that one time says, yo, you remember that time that I was absent? And I was like, I absolutely do remember that time you were absent, because she asked me if I knew why you were gone and seemed like not to believe me when I said that I didn't know. She was like, what the hell? I don't understand why she's harassing me about it. She emailed me 3 separate times about my absence that day, trying to ask why I wasn't there. I can't remember what she said was going on, but it was like something serious. She's like, I wasn't like on my phone. This class was the last thing on my mind, and she would not leave me alone. She's like, not only that, but then when I came back into class for the next one, she held me after class and then asked me in person. She's like an ex-boyfriend that won't leave me alone. She's like, I had to tell her details that I did not want to tell her because she would not leave me alone. I'm like, this is one of the most insane things that I've ever heard in my life. I cannot believe that this is real. This is like the class they warn you about in high school that never actually exists.
When do you ever have to tell your business to your teacher like this? You could have just said like it was something important. She is How old are they at this point? I think she said she was probably like 23. So okay, I get the intimidation, I guess.
Why is everybody complying?
Right,
Like, what
like
fuck?
what?
Like, we grown. I think, when you first got out of high school, you going through this transition of having to be at school and then choosing to be at school when you're in college. So it's like, I don't have to sit here and deal with you know what I'm saying? What are you gonna do? Send me to the office? What you gonna do?
I mean, that's what this whole story's about.
What are you
So
gonna
I
do?
mean, she ends up sending her to the dean.
Like, imagine now, this trick only really works for kids who on scholarships and stuff. If you got some scholarships, cool for you. But if you are here, this is community college, bro. Like, you better sit down.
Yeah, and I'm surprised they didn't just all like mass report
Like,
this
what did you expect
professor.
at a community college? It's just like, this is like literally some community college to me be a waste of time. I
This
just
is
feel like
boot camp.
it's like people who, I ain't gonna even say that. But it's just a waste of time to me. Like, you just in here just trying to fill a void at this point. Because what do you learn the first 2 years of college? Like, just remedial classes back into algebra 1, and it's like you get 2 years in the school, and it's like, what are you really gonna obtain here? Like, I don't know. I feel like the teacher just like a dose of reality. Like, what are y'all even doing here? Like, since you want to be here and we want to be here just to be here, let's just be here. Like, what are we even learning? Like, I'm just saying, this type of schooling, you might as well just go to a 4-year school at that point.
Except for here it is. You were not allowed to ask questions in the class. If you raised your hand and asked for clarification on something she was talking about, she would shame you in front of the entire class. So nobody ever asked any questions, and everybody was struggling. I want to say it was like a B. I was doing pretty good, but that's because I was dedicating my time to YouTube videos outside of this class. Because I'll be honest, she was really good at math, okay? She's really good at it, except for she doesn't know how to teach it to anybody else. And that, I feel, is the problem due to you being a teacher. And so then you have to be prepared when people ask you questions and need like reiteration on the subject. What is wrong with you? And why are you so mean to people asking questions? Anyways, fast forward a couple of weeks later, I'm in class. I have to pee. I'm about to my pants, actually. I'm looking at the clock, 32 minutes left. I am not going to make it. I make a calculated decision. I would rather my pants in my seat. So I get up and I go to the bathroom, and I'm Speedy Pete, okay? I'm super quick. Come back, sit back down. She's glaring at me the entire time. I'm waiting for her to be like, stay after class. She doesn't say anything to me, which is like surprising. I think maybe it's because she, I don't know, kind of likes me, because she really is never having a problem with me. I'm just sitting here listening as best I can because I want to pass this class, and I'm so scared of her that I'm gonna cry if she picks on me. Some time goes by, I stop working at the bookstore. I start working full-time at the jewelry store. I was working a lot, and I had a lot of other things on my plate at the time. It was getting increasingly difficult for me to balance everything. I was exhausted, and this is where I messed up. For one of my other classes, I had to read a book by Ray Bradbury, okay? And I had not done the chapter that I was supposed to do for the next class. On this particular day in stats class, we were going over a study guide for a test that we were going to be taking the next class. I was doing really well with this content. I had gotten every single question right on the study guide. So I was sitting there and I was weighing my options. I was like, I need to have this finished in like an hour, reading the Ray Bradbury book. I decide I'm going to be as sneaky as possible, and I'm just going to read the book in class. I should never have done that. I'm so sorry, I'm running out of time. I will pick up in part 2. I didn't think this would be 2 parts, but now it is, and I'm so sorry. Or you're welcome. Okay, see you in a second. Welcome to part 2 of the time that I got into a verbal altercation with my statistics professor and got sent to the dean because of it. I'm just going to pick up right where I left off. Where we left off, I had just made the really bad decision to start reading a Ray Bradbury book in class because it was for my next class that I hadn't done because I had been working so much. 15 minutes goes by. I'm still reading. I think I'm being sneaky as fuck because she's not saying anything, and normally she calls these things out immediately upon seeing them. But as I'm sitting there reading, I realize I need to shit right now. I am gonna shit my pants if I don't get up and go right now. So I close my book, I sit there for a minute, and I go, do I really have to get up and do this? Yes, I do. So I get up and I run out of that classroom and I go do my business. I come back, I kind of don't feel good. That was not a fun time. I sit back down and then I don't reopen the book, okay? I'm listening to her and I'm doing the math.
Pooping in class is like, like having to go poop and leave and then come back is like so embarrassing because you've been gone for a long period of time. Everyone knows what you have just done. And I would have just never came back. So, props to her for even showing back up. I would have just been like, okay, I had an emergency. I got to go. I'm not coming back to class. And in college, it's usually, you never have to ask to go to the bathroom. You just get up and come back. So, I mean, I think she could be fired if she says you can't go to the bathroom.
Man, I got up and went to the bathroom. I just don't understand what community college is this. Like this, this probably got to be one of those community colleges that you don't really need the degree in. You can just you can work your way up to be in these degrees, like in these type of professions. Because what are we doing? Like, this is high school all over again.
Math, because I'm like, I just got up in this class, like, I don't want to push it, you know what I mean? She doesn't say anything to me again, so I'm like, damn, she really likes me. Like, she knows that I'm not a huge problem. Like, I'm not causing her strife every single day. I've never missed a class. She knows I'm vibes. Like, she's not gonna yell at me. No. No. We get up to leave that class. I'm packing up my stuff to go. She points at me and says, "You stay." And my heart drops to my ass. Everyone's giving me looks like, good luck. I summon up all of my courage. I take a deep breath. And then I go up to the front of the classroom and I say, "Yes." She goes, "Why were you reading in my class?" And I was like, "I'm so sorry." I was like, "I'm so sorry. It was for a class. It's due in like right now, actually. I made a really bad decision. I shouldn't have been reading. It's just that it's due very soon and I've been working a lot and I haven't had a lot of time anymore. And I don't know. I'm really sorry. I shouldn't have been reading in your class." She goes, "Why are you always getting up to leave?" I was like, "I had to go to the bathroom." And she's like, "You always have to go to the bathroom?" And I was like, "Well, I've only gotten up to leave twice, and both of those times have been to go to the bathroom." Yeah. She goes, "At the beginning of this semester, I told you you are not to leave this classroom for any reason." And I was like, "Okay, but I had to go to the bathroom, so." And she goes, "That's not an excuse." And I said, "But it's the reason that I left." It's the reason. Not an excuse. She goes, "If you have to use the bathroom, use it before class." I go, "I did actually go before class, and then I had to go in class too." Now, by the way, at this point, I'm starting to have I'm shaking just thinking about it. I'm having flashbacks to high school. The same argument I would get in with teachers. One substitute teacher in particular, she and I hated each other, and this was always the argument. So like, I'm getting a little triggered, but I'm keeping my calm, you know? Okay, I'm just gonna pretend this is work and lock in. Then she starts raising her voice at me, and you know what? I don't do well with that. I can't yell right now because everybody's asleep, but yelling at me saying, "You are not to leave this classroom ever for any reason." And I said, I am a grown adult and I am paying to be here. If I have to take it, I'm gonna go take it. She goes, "Excuse me?" And I was like, "Listen, I am really sorry that I read in your class. I understand why you're upset about that. That was me being distracted and not paying attention. That is my bad. I'm sorry. However, I am not going to apologize for going to the bathroom when I need to go, when I am a grown adult, and again, I pay to be here. That bathroom is part of my tuition. So I will be going to the bathroom when I feel like I need to." She said, "You need a doctor's note." I said, "I need a doctor's note for a human bodily function everybody has." She just kept yelling at me. I said, "Why are you yelling at me? This is insane. If you can't have a conversation like an adult, I'm gonna leave." She says, "I told you to stay. You stay." I say, "I'm actually going to go because I have another class to get to and you are not having a conversation like a rational adult right now. So maybe we can revisit this in the future, but I am leaving now. Have a great day." And I leave. I walk out the door. She's still yelling even when I'm out of the classroom. Some of my newfound pals from that class had been sticking around in the hallway to overhear what was going on. I was like, we gotta go now. I'm proud of myself because I'm like, that's the bravest I've ever been. Granted, I know I was in the wrong with the book, but you are not going to tell me if I can and cannot use the bathroom. Sorry. Not even an hour later, I receive an email. Actually, let me go see if I can find it. "Dear Kaylin, I would like to meet with you to discuss some concerns raised by Professor Smith in your statistics course. Please come to my office, Administration Building, on Tuesday, February 26th at 10:30 a.m. If you are unable to meet with me at that time, please let me know as soon as possible. In advance of this meeting, I urge you to familiarize yourself with the Student Code of Conduct. Sincerely, the Assistant Dean of Students." She called the dean on me. She filed a complaint with the dean because I went to the bathroom. Actually, no, the complaint wasn't that why I went to the bathroom. The complaint was that I was being disrespectful to her by cursing at her. Mind you, she's been yelling at me and the whole class. She's been actually raising her voice, and I said that was the problem. Spoiler alert. This enraged me in ways that I still find difficult to articulate, because what do you mean? So on Tuesday, February 26th at 10, I was there early. I was there at like 10:15 wearing a blazer, bro. I go into the office. I sit across from some guy. I don't know actually who it was that I was talking to. I think it may have been this person. I don't think it was the actual dean, but I genuinely cannot remember who I talked to because I was so stressed out. I'm sitting across from this guy and he's like, so why don't you tell me your side of events? Like, I've heard Sarah Smith's side of events. Why don't you tell me yours? So I tell him everything. First, I say, I apologize to her already for reading a book in her class. I really should not have been doing that. I understand where she's coming from in that is disrespectful and against her class rules. I get it. However, I'm an adult, and when I need to use the bathroom, I am going to use the bathroom. And you are not going to yell in my face about me doing that. He goes, did you curse at her? And I was like, I cursed to her. I said I needed to take it, and you're not going to tell me when I can and cannot take it. I was like, I didn't call her names. In fact, she was the one raising her voice at me. She regularly yells at us, and you can ask anybody in that class. He goes, actually, we've been getting a lot of complaints about her. This is not the first time that we've had an issue with someone in the class. And I was like, I believe it because I see it every single day. We have the world's most frustrating conversation where he's trying to like see it from her side, but ultimately is agreeing with me. And then he settles on, I need to send her an email apology for using curse words in the conversation with her. I need to apologize to her for using curse words while she was yelling at me.
I wish I must was hell growing up because no way I would have never wrote. Like, are you serious? Like, do freedom of speech not apply to you in college either? Cause let me know. Cause there's a lot of places it don't apply. But is college one of those exemptions too? Like, you can't just express yourself. Like, I wish a grown man would tell me to go tell my grown ass to go tell another grown ass person who I wasn't disrespecting really. I was just cussing, and I got to go apologize because she ain't like how I feel. Drop the class. What do you mean? Isn't college still a business? Like, are y'all still making money off us? I'm confused. So you could just cut me out the school. That takes away the fun too, right? Like, just shut up and move on from this topic. That's what I would have said. Like, bro, just shut up and move on from this topic. If you're getting complaints from everybody about this teacher, you're the problem too now. I'm about to go above you with the complaint because you're not going to tell me where I'm spending my hard money at that I can't do X, Y, and Z. Like, what? I'll sit here and respect the rules of the classroom, but you're not going to yell at me like come on now.
Yeah, you couldn't pay me to do this. It's giving they just couldn't afford to get rid of this professor. They're probably low on staff.
Right. Just sounds like a JUCO school. Like, just yeah.
Like please, I'm begging you, please just write the email, please.
Like I feel like most of the teachers signed up that year. Like, come on, who wanna be teaching this year? Like, they send out a flyer to all the old students. Like, no way you in here tripping like this.
So many complaints already filed and nothing was done.
Yeah, she thinking she's teaching toddlers.
Okay, so I do that. I begrudgingly, because I'm being forced to, write this email. Hi, Professor Smith. I wanted to extend a sincere apology for my use of language last Thursday during our conversation after class. I now see how that made you uncomfortable and exacerbated the issue, and I promise it won't happen again. Have a good rest of your day and see you tomorrow in class. She says, thank you, sent from my iPhone. That's not where this ends, because henceforth, from that point forward, all I did in class was stare at her. Like, I took notes and whatever, but I glared at her. I sent her hate through my eyeballs at every moment I possibly could. We would make eye contact and I would just funnel all of my hatred into her as best I could. Because I couldn't do anything else. I never got up again, by the way, even when I really had to, because I was like, I'm not doing this whole thing again. If it ends with me having to apologize every time, like, I'm not doing that, because she could just yell at us for no reason and then I have to, whatever. Then like 2 weeks later, she sends me this completely unprompted. Hi, Kaylin. I just want to let you know that I appreciate you making the effort and staying in class during the whole duration, and also for paying attention and not doing other things that can be distracting. I do see your grade being better than before test 1, and I hope you will keep up the good work. Best, Professor Smith. On the surface, this seems really nice, right? Except for when you consider that I only left the class those 2 times and I only ever read that book once. Okay, I was not being a problem. Mind you, I had a B and I was doing just fine. No thanks to her. That was all me, dude. Eventually, I passed the class and I never have to see Professor Smith ever again. And then, that's not where this ends though. Like 6 months later, I'm still working at the jewelry store. Some guy comes in and he's buying a promise ring for his girlfriend. And I say, there's a sale running on that particular ring. It's whatever % off. And if you sign up for the credit card, you get like an extra whatever % off. And he's like, ooh, I can't do that math in my head. And I was like, I can't do math in my head either. Like, I struggle through math always. He goes, I'm so bad at math. I've had really bad professors. I say, you don't know anything about bad professors. I had this one that called me to the dean because I got up to use the bathroom. He goes, wait, where did you go to college? I tell him. He says, was this a statistics class? I said, yes. He goes, did she have a French accent? I say, yes. And we look at each other with this knowing look that we have shared a very specific trauma. I said, what did she do to you? And he's like, I drank water in her class once. And then after she yelled at me for that, I dropped it because I couldn't take it anymore. But now my girlfriend has her, and that's who I'm buying this ring for. So, and that's the story of how I got into a fight with my professor and then found out that she's just evil to everybody. And you can even recognize her in public just based on the stories told about her. When I was in
Well, that'll make me not want to go to college at all.
Yeah, people don't ever think about the dropout rate being high because the professor was just that bad. Like, it's not because we didn't want to learn. They were just, no, I'm not sticking through an hour to hour and a half paying for this trauma on myself. No, thank you. And it's so funny when you have like the same like core memory as somebody else. Like you think it's like an original memory you have, and then you realize somebody else has lived the same thing. That is hilarious.
I think it's pretty valid though. I feel like the teacher made some valid points though because she never stopped. Like she stopped going to the bathroom. Seemed like it was a medical condition at first, but it just stopped.
It didn't stop though. She really had to go. She couldn't
I was on
hold
her
it.
side when she said she had to go. You know, I'm like thinking maybe it could be a medical, maybe it could be some medical type of issue. But the way that it just stopped, maybe the teacher was on to something. Maybe you ain't telling us everything.
She had to hold it. And,
Right.
and I hope she never like got a UTI or anything. I'm not holding my pee for
Oh, that's
anybody.
crazy. That's
You
crazy.
do get it though when you hold your
I mean, I
pee.
get it,
Like
I
I'm
get
not
it.
holding my pee for nobody. Like what? Are you paying? Like what?
Yeah, I don't know, but that seems crazy though. I would never go to that school again. I mean, you can't go back again, right? Once you
I
do it
mean
the
you
first 2
can.
years.
Oh man, people I've done in community college, there's so many people that left and came back, and it's a 2-year college, which is what's so blowing. It's like, how have you been here for 4 years? What the hell?
Yeah, just realizing that you're grown. That'd be that first year when you realize, like, hold on, wait, what?
I can leave.
I can get up. Like, I
I
can
can
go to the
not show
bathroom.
up.
Like, I could not show up. Right. Like, you gotta really have a passionate teacher who just on some elementary time. Like, she just probably fresh out of high school teaching, and now she's get to be a professor. And she's like, I'm gonna really stick it to the. Like, I don't know. She came in there with some damn vengeance or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe she's just more into the. Maybe she's just more into the aesthetics of being a teacher. You know, this is what teachers do. You know, serious teacher, always the best teacher, low key. I don't know. That lady tell herself when she go home.
She probably just upset. It's sometimes people be so when they come to work mad, it be like everything else making them that way. It don't even be like the current situation.
Right.
But if you guys have any horror stories about community college or just regular college, let us know down below. You will also find this creator down there as well. And follow us on our Patreon.
Yep. That's all we got for today. We'll see you all in the next story time. Peace.